He froze mid-rung, the lantern beam catching a shape curled in the golden hay. The shape sat up, jade green skin, sleep mussed black hair, two delicate tusks.
"You are not supposed to be up here," she said, her voice quiet and utterly unsurprised.
She spoke like she'd rehearsed this moment, like she'd been expecting him for weeks.
"I've been hiding in your hayloft for 3 months," she said. "I know your routine."
3 months? His voice cracked. You've been living above me all this time?
"You never climb up here, not since your parents died. I was careful."
She knew about his parents. She'd seen his grief from the shadows.
"I am Brenza Corlith. I need a place to stay, and your farm is the only safe one."
The hay dust glittered in the lantern light as Joshua struggled to find words.
How did you choose this farm? Joshua managed, his voice still unsteady.
"I watched from the ridge for a week. You never came up here, not once."
She knew his every movement. The thought was both unsettling and strangely comforting.
"When you slept, I'd slip down to your kitchen. A bit of bread, some water."
That empty kitchen, the cold hearth, the 2 chairs no one sat in anymore.
"I never took much. You cook for 2 now, but you eat alone."
My parents died last winter. I can't bring myself to clear their chairs.
"I know. I saw you talk to their empty seats sometimes. That's why I stayed."
Stayed? You are not just passing through. You are running from something.
Her jaw tightened. "That's a longer story. For now, just know I had no other choice."
You don't have to keep hiding in the hayloft. Stay down here. I could use the company.
"Your neighbors won't accept an orc living openly. You'd be shunned."
I've been shunned by silence for 6 months. That's worse than any gossip.
"If you truly mean it, I'll stay. But you must promise not to regret this."
She rose from the hay, and together they moved toward the ladder, shadows stretching long. Joshua descended first, lantern swinging, her footsteps light behind him on the rungs.
A strange relief filled him, as if the farm might finally feel whole again.
When they reached the barn floor, she glanced around. "It feels brighter down here."
We'll figure out the rest. One day at a time. That's all a farm ever asks.
The hayloft stood empty behind them, its secret finally given air after 3 long months. The fields ripened under late summer sun. Joshua and Brenza fell into an easy rhythm, planting, weeding, harvesting.
"I haven't worked soil like this since I left my clan. It feels grounding."
I used to do it alone. Having someone beside me makes the days less heavy. More than less heavy. It felt almost like a home again.
Then a stranger cut through the peace. Tomas, a traveling tinker, appeared on the cart path at midday. He halted dead when he spotted Brenza. His hand went to his belt knife.
Joshua stepped between them, his voice strained. Easy. She's with me. No trouble here.
"The damage is done. He saw me. He'll spread word to every tavern."
He was right back at the hayloft ladder, paralyzed, panicking.
Tomas's eyes never left Brenza. He looked like a man who'd just stumbled on a secret worth gold.
What business does an orc have on a human farm? You'd best have a good answer, boy.
She's a hired hand, nothing more. Helped with the planting and now the harvest.
Tomas gave a short laugh that held no humor. He walked on, but his backward glance promised trouble.
"He'll tell every village within 3 days' ride. We have to leave tonight."
I am not leaving my parents' farm. I've already lost too much to run from a rumor.
"If my clan finds me here, you'll lose more than a farm. You'll lose your life."
Then I'll stand beside you anyway. I won't hide you in the hayloft again.
She wanted to believe him, but hope had always cost her more than fear ever did.
Silence fell between them, heavy as the fading light over the empty fields.
He didn't know if he could protect her, but the thought of letting her go felt worse than any threat.
When the door closed behind them, Brenza finally let the mask crack. She sat at the kitchen table, staring at her hands.
"My clan chief chose me for his bed. I was property, not a person with a will."
Forced betrothal? Couldn't your family refuse?
"They were afraid. Korvac the Cleaver. He kills dissenters and calls it honor. When he ordered a raid on a human village, children included, I spoke out. That sealed my fate.
So you ran, but is there no orc law to protect someone like you?
There's shelter right. If you give unseen refuge for 3 months, a bond forms that no clan can break.
3 months? You've been here exactly that. Does it still work if I didn't know?
It requires a willing host who publicly claims the bondsman. Without that, it's meaningless.
A public claim. He could barely speak to Tomas, but maybe, just maybe, this was a way out.
The days stacked into weeks without a warning sign. The only harvest was the quiet trust growing between them.
My mother used to sing while she scythe-dived, badly, but she never cared who heard.
I had a brother who'd carve wooden animals. He said they were guardians for lost causes.
Those stories softened the edges of fear, until the evening Joshua spotted a shape on the eastern ridge.
He froze, napkin in hand. A silhouette, broad-shouldered, unmistakable. An orc scout. He whispered to Brenza, "There's someone on the hill, watching."
Her face drained of color. They've found me. How long do we have?
I don't know. Maybe a day, maybe less. We need a plan.
The warm sunset turned cold under their gaze. The farm no longer felt like a refuge. They stayed up late, side by side, staring into the dark fields, waiting for the inevitable.
That scout means they'll be at our gate by dawn. We have no more time to pretend.
Then tell me everything about the shelter right. How do I claim it in front of them?
You stand before my hunters and speak the old words. Acknowledge 8 full moons of unseen residence under your roof.
8 moons. Exactly how long she hid. But could a human farmer ever invoke orc law?
It's never been tested with a human. If they refuse the claim, they risk civil war among the clans.
So it's not just a claim, it's a challenge. And if I fail, she dies right in front of me. Teach me the words. Tonight, I'll say them at dawn. I'll mean every syllable.
They must see you as a protector, not a farm boy. Your voice cannot shake.
Joshua's father's bow leaned against the wall, a relic of a man who'd never fought another soul.
He had no right to feel ready. But for the first time since his parents died, he knew exactly what he was fighting for.
Joshua picked up his father's hunting bow and nocked an arrow. His fingers trembled.
I haven't shot this since I was 12. I'll be more danger to us than them.
You don't need to hit them. The bow is for presence. The words are your true weapon. Again, repeat after me. Vek gar torun kesh. It means I claim this shelter bond.
The guttural syllables scraped his throat. They felt like stones in his mouth.
You'll get it. Take a breath and say it like you are staking your life on it. Because you are.
He'd never gambled with a life before. His and hers, both balanced on his tongue.
Outside, the last light of day bled out of the sky, leaving a bruise-colored horizon. They worked by lantern light, their voices low as the night deepened around them.
When they come, don't hesitate. The law is old, but it's real. Make them believe it.
Dawn brought a cloud of dust on the road. 3 riders, axes slung low. Gorvac at the lead, his face unreadable.
Brenza, they're here. Up the ladder now. The Hayloft's your best cover.
I should be at your side, not hiding like a coward. Let me face them with you.
This isn't cowardice, it's the plan. Go. I'll buy us time to speak the right.
She climbed with stiff limbs, the hayloft swallowing her shadow. The trapdoor creaked shut. Joshua took a breath and opened the farmhouse door. Gorvac's glare hit him before any words.
Where is the traitor, boy? Hand her over, and your farm stays standing.
I don't have a traitor. Just a worker who's done no harm. You are trespassing.
You stink of lies. We'll search the barn ourselves, if you won't step aside.
Joshua's bow felt like a feather in a storm. The hayloft held their last hope, and he prayed the hunters couldn't hear his heart pounding.
You think I won't set this barn ablaze, boy? The smoke will bring her crawling out.
Light a fire, and you'll bring the human lord's guard down on you. I am not worth that trouble.
Then give us the traitor. Last warning.
Joshua led them into the farmyard, away from the barn, his mind scrambling for time.
Search every corner. If she's here, I want her found before noon.
The hunters scattered, kicking over feed buckets and hay bales. The barn stood silent. Then a hunter straightened, staring at the barn's high window. His eyes narrowed.
That loft boy. The one you said was empty. Open the trapdoor, or I'll do it myself.
No more stalls. The shelter right had to be spoken now, or the loft would be torn apart.
Joshua planted himself between Gorvak and the barn door and filled his lungs. His voice cracked on the first syllable, but he forced the words out anyway.
Vek zarar torun kesh. I claim this shelter bond under the eyes of the ancestors.
The hunters stopped, their growls dying. Even Gorvak's hand paused on his axe.
A human dares speak our law. You mock us with stolen words.
Stolen? Number. Brenza had given him these words. They belonged to her, and now to him. I sheltered Brenza Corlith for 8 full moons, unseen. By the old pact, she is under my protection.
One of the younger hunters glanced at Gorvak, uncertainty flickering in his eyes.
You think a farm boy can bind an orc with empty air? Bring her out if she's truly willing.
Joshua's heart pounded, but he didn't move. The right was spoken. The law was now in the open.
Whether they honored it or killed him, he'd said the words. Brenza would know he'd tried.
You dare cite a right that no human has ever invoked? This is farce.
The right doesn't care who speaks. It cares about truth. 3 months, unseen, under my roof. I offer my word.
The younger hunter's hand drifted toward his axe, but not to attack, to grip it in confusion.
Don't tell me you swallow this filth. This is a human ploy.
The hunter didn't answer, and for the first time, Gorvak looked less like a leader and more like a man arguing with shadows.
Even if the right holds, she must consent. You can't bind a free orc against her will.
Then call her down, let her speak. If she denies me, I'll step aside.
The other hunter shifted his weight, glancing between the barn and his commander.
This is madness. Korvac will flay us all for this.
But the threat landed hollow. The old law had taken root, and even Gorvak's fury couldn't uproot it now.
If words were enough, I'd have claimed a kingdom. Step aside, or I'll take her by force.
Break the shelter right, and you'll spark a civil war. Your hunters know the law, Gorvak.
Gorvak's hand trembled on his axe. The weight of a choice he couldn't make alone pressed down.
Fine, let her speak. If she refuses you, the right is void. Call her down.
Brenza, the hunters need your word. Come down, it's time.
The barn door creaked open. Slow, deliberate footsteps echoed on the wooden rungs. Brenza stepped into the yard, her face pale but her spine straight. She met Gorvak's stare.
So the runaway shows herself. You'd trade the clan for a human's barn and his pretty words.
Joshua moved to Brenza's side, their hands brushing. He didn't answer. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The test was about to begin, and for the first time, he was certain they'd face it together.
I am not his servant, Gorvak. I choose this farm. I choose him.
A tremor ran through the hunters. No one had expected her to speak with that kind of iron.
You throw away your clan for a straw roof and a boy with a bow.
The clan threw me away first. This human gave me shelter when I was invisible. I am not going back.
The younger hunter shifted his grip on his axe, not to strike, but to sheath it.
This is treason. Korvac will hear of this.
Let him. The shelter right stands. You cannot take me without war.
Joshua's hand found Brenza's, their fingers locking like a promise.
We will not be the ones to break the pact. But this isn't over, human.
The words hung in the air, an oath acknowledged, a line drawn. Gorvak's jaw clenched, but he said nothing more. He turned his back on them.
Korvac will hear of this, and when he does, remember, You chose this bond over your life.
He hauled himself into the saddle, the leather creaking under his weight, and yanked the reins. The three hunters rode out of the yard, their shadows stretching like fading bruises. The dust settled slowly, and with it the weight that had pressed on Joshua's chest for days.
They're gone. It actually worked.
For now. But we bought ourselves a future. That's more than I've had in years.
She turned to look at the hayloft, its trapdoor still open, a symbol of hiding, now empty. Joshua set the old bow against the door frame. His hands still shook, but he didn't care. They stood together as the sunset washed the farm in gold. No one spoke. Words weren't needed.
You didn't just say the words, you meant them. I could hear it in your voice.
Her voice cracked on the last word. And before she could steady herself, the tears came.
Every syllable. I told you I'd mean it.
She stepped into his arms, and he held on as if letting go would undo the bond. Her fingers dug into the fabric of his shirt, grounding herself. He felt her breath shudder against his neck.
Thank you. For not running. For being braver than I ever was.
You were the one who chose me. That's braver than any law.
They drew apart just enough to see each other's faces, both streaked with dust and relief. Behind them, the sun dipped below the barn, and the farm felt whole for the first time in almost a year. Joshua laced his fingers through hers, and together they walked the familiar path toward the farmhouse.
I never thought I'd say this, but this farm feels like it was waiting for me.
She paused beside the small stone that marked where his parents rested, and knelt without a word.
They raised a good man. I wish I could have thanked them myself.
His mother would have braided wildflowers into Brenza's hair before breakfast. His father would have taught her to whittle.
He stood in the doorway, watching her tender gesture, and a long-held grief loosened in his chest.
Come inside, Brenza. It's your home now, too.
She rose, her eyes wet, and they stepped together into the warmth of the farmhouse kitchen. A single candle flickered beside the portrait of his parents on the mantel. For the first time since winter, the house held more living souls than memories. Joshua knelt by the cold hearth, striking flint, until a small flame curled around the kindling. The firelight caught the green of Brenza's skin as she lifted the pot from the hook, steam rising in a fragrant cloud.
I used your mother's recipe. The stew you taught me first. Felt right tonight.
The same stew he had made alone for months, now cooked by hands that chose to stay.
They sat at the worn table, bowls steaming between them, the silence more comfortable than any words.
He raised a mug of cider to lost causes that found their way home.
She touched her mug to his, to the boy who climbed a ladder he never used.
A smile, small and unpracticed, tugged at the corner of her mouth. Then it broke free, true and unguarded, and for a moment the threat of the clan felt a world away. They ate in the glow of the hearth, two survivors who had rediscovered what it meant to have a future. After Brenza had fallen asleep by the dying hearth, Joshua slipped out to the barn alone. He climbed the ladder one last time, his lantern the only light in the sleeping dark. The hayloft was silent and still, just straw and shadows now, no hidden heartbeat. He knelt where her shape had once curled into the golden hay, where it all began.
3 months she hid here. 3 months of loneliness I never even knew I shared. And now she's family. Not by blood, but by the old law that I spoke and meant.
He looked back toward the house, where a candle still flickered beside his parents' portrait.
I think you'd be proud, Ma, Pa. I am not alone anymore, and I am not afraid.
The night air carried the scent of fresh hay and the quiet promise of a morning that would come together. Joshua lay back in the hay, staring up at the rafters, and for the first time in months, he slept without grieving. A new morning broke over the farm, soft and untroubled. Brenza scattered feed and the chickens swarmed her feet. Across the yard, Joshua swung his father's old hammer, mending a fence rail that had sagged since winter.
Last time he'd fixed this fence, the silence had been unbearable. Now it felt like a full breath.
Brenza bent to pick up the egg basket and caught his eye. No words passed, but her look said everything. It said, "We're safe. We're here. We're home." And it was enough. She laughed, a bright, unguarded sound, and the last traces of fear evaporated into the morning sun. Joshua laughed too, the sound rusty but real, and they returned to their labor under a sky that asked nothing of them. The wheat stood gold and heavy, waiting for the scythe, and they fell into the rhythm they had learned together. No one watched from the ridge, no one hunted from the shadows. The only footsteps were their own. Brenza looked at the farm, their farm, and for the first time she believed it would stand forever. As dusk settled, Joshua and Brenza carried the last tools to the porch and sank onto the old steps. Above them, the sky deepened into velvet, and the first stars pierced the veil one by one. Brenza rested her head on Joshua's shoulder. No words, just the steady rhythm of their breathing.
A year ago, this silence would have been empty. Now, it was full of everything worth fighting for.
The farmhouse glowed behind them, a single lamp burning in the kitchen window. Their fingers intertwined, a silent echo of the bond they had claimed before hunters and ancestors. The camera drew back, past the barn, past the empty hayloft, until the whole farm lay cradled in the dark. Fields slept. Chickens roosted. The hayloft stood empty, its secret now a memory. They had started with a ladder and a lantern. They ended with a home, and as the stars wheeled overhead, the quiet kept them, unchanged, unbroken, and finally at peace.